AITA for refusing to bail out my girlfriend after her ex got arrested in our apartment? My name is Caleb Navarro. I am 28 years old, male, and I never thought I would be one of those guys with a story like this, but here we are. And honestly, watching karma act in real time has been the only thing that has kept me sane in the middle of this disaster. I will start from the beginning because context matters. I have been with my girlfriend. She is an ex-girlfriend now, obviously. Vanessa Molina, 27 years old, for about 2.5 years. We met through mutual friends at a 4th of July barbecue. She was fun, had her life in order, worked as a dental hygienist, and seemed pretty normal, without major red flags at the beginning. In retrospect, that should have been the first red flag. We moved in together about 8 months ago. I own a condo downtown. Nothing fancy, but it is mine. 2 bedrooms, a decent neighborhood, and close to my job at a software company where I am a developer. Vanessa was renting with 2 roommates and complained that one never cleaned and that the other one's boyfriend was always there. Moving in together seemed like the next logical step. At first, everything was going well. We had the typical adjustment period. She did not like how I organized the kitchen. I did not love that she showered for an hour, but it was nothing serious. We split the bills fairly. We both worked full-time. We had our own friend groups, but we also went out together. Pretty normal couple things. I thought we were building something real, planning trips, talking maybe about getting a dog, that whole life together thing. Then, about 3 months ago, things started getting weird. Not weird in an immediate alarm way, just different. Vanessa started spending more time on her phone than normal. She would get messages late at night and always turn the screen so I would not see it. When I asked her who it was, she said it was work or the girls and changed the subject quickly. At first, I thought it was nothing. Maybe she was planning a surprise or had some work drama she did not want to discuss. She also started going out more. Girls' nights became a weekly thing, sometimes twice a week. I am not controlling. She has the right to have a life outside of me. But the frequency was new, and she would come home at very strange hours, like 2 or 3 in the morning, long after the bars in the area closed. When I asked her, she would get defensive. Why are you interrogating me? Do you not trust me? Classic deflection tactics that I was too naive to recognize at that moment. The biggest change was in the bedroom. We went from being quite active to practically nothing. She was always tired, not in the mood, or had a headache. Classic excuses, but I did not want to be that guy who makes everything about intimacy, so I did not insist. I thought we were just going through a rough patch. Work was stressful for both of us, right? These things happen in long relationships. My best friend Ethan noticed something was wrong when we met up one night for drinks. Dude, you look stressed, he said halfway through his second beer. Everything good with Vanessa? I shrugged. Yeah, I think so. She has just been busy with work and going out more with her friends. Ethan looked at me with that face. You know the one, the seriously face. Look, I do not want to be that guy, but have you noticed she has been uploading a lot of old photos to Instagram lately? Like specifically from college? Not really. I am not big on social media, but I pulled out my phone right there and went to her profile. Sure enough, the last 2 weeks were full of old photos. Her with college friends, her at some party, her at graduation, and in many of them, the same guy appeared over and over hugging her, both laughing, very cozy. Who is that? Ethan asked, pointing at the screen. I have no idea, I said, but that horrible feeling in my stomach told me I needed to find out. That night I did something I am not proud of. I waited for Vanessa to be in the shower, one of her marathon 1-hour showers, and I checked her phone. Yes, I know. Invasion of privacy, trust issues, all that. But my gut was screaming at me that something was wrong, and I needed to know. I had tried to talk to her several times, have honest conversations about how distant she was, and she always shut me down or turned it back on me. So yes, I looked. Her phone was locked, but I knew her code. She had given it to me months ago when we moved in together with a whole speech about not having secrets and trusting each other completely. Ironic, right? She preached transparency while hiding everything. I went straight to the messages. There was a contact saved as Derek Work with a bunch of recent messages. But here is the detail. Vanessa worked at a dental clinic with like 3 other people, all women. There was no Derek at her work. I had gone to the office Christmas party. I knew everyone. There was no Derek. The messages made my blood run cold. I cannot wait to see you tonight. It has been too long. I miss being with you. Does he suspect anything? He is clueless, too busy with work to notice. I scrolled up and saw weeks of that specific type of conversation. Plans to see each other, complaints about me, memories of their college days. And then I found photos. Not explicit, luckily, but definitely intimate. Him shirtless, her in his apartment, the two of them in bed together, clothed, but the context was crystal clear. There were inside jokes, affectionate nicknames, references to places where they had been together. This was not something new. It was a full-blown affair. The shower turned off. I quickly left the phone where it was with shaking hands. I went back to the living room, turned on the TV, and tried to look normal, even though I felt like I was going to become physically ill. Vanessa came out in a robe with her hair wrapped in a towel. "What are you watching?" she asked as if nothing was wrong. "Just flipping channels," I said. My voice sounded hollow even to me. She kissed me on the head, the nerve, and went to the bedroom to get dressed. I sat staring at the television, seeing nothing, trying to decide what to do. My mind was going at 1,000 miles per hour. How long had this been going on? Was she planning to leave me? Was I just a replacement while she worked things out with this Derek guy? I could confront her right in that moment, but something told me to wait, to be strategic. I had read enough stories on Reddit about guys whose lives were ruined for not having everything well prepared. Vanessa's name was not on the deed. It was my condo, my name, everything was mine. But that did not mean she could not make my life impossible if I handled the situation poorly. She could ruin my reputation, make false accusations, or try to claim tenant rights. I had heard horror stories, so I did what any smart guy would do. I started documenting everything. Over the next week, I took screenshots of every suspicious message I could find. I checked our shared credit card statements and found charges at restaurants I had never been to, at hotels out of town, at places that were definitely not typical girls' night spots. Expensive dinners, hotels in neighboring cities, charges at that fancy rooftop bar downtown I always wanted to take her to, but which according to her was too expensive. Apparently, it was not that expensive when Derek was involved. I saved everything in a folder on my work laptop, in a place where she could not stumble upon it by accident. I created a detailed timeline with dates, amounts, and locations. I even opened Google Street View for some addresses to confirm they were hotels or motels. I was building a case as if I were going to civil court because it could perfectly well end there. I also started paying much more attention to her schedule. When she said she had a girls' night on Thursday, I casually texted her friend Brianna with a, "Hey, Vanessa left her watch here. She said she might stop by your place later." Brianna had no idea what I was talking about. There was no girls' night planned. When I mentioned it to Vanessa later, she got nervous and said plans had changed last minute. Sure they did. That was when I knew for sure it was not just emotional cheating or an inappropriate friendship. She was actively lying, actively betraying me, and making me look like an idiot in my own home. Ethan was the only person I told. He came over one night when Vanessa was supposedly working late. Another lie. I called the dental clinic and they told me she had left at 5 in the afternoon as usual. "This is bad, man," Ethan said, looking at all the evidence I had collected on my laptop. "This is really bad. What are you going to do?" "I do not know yet," I admitted. "But I am not going to sit idly by. I need to catch her in the act, you know, so she cannot manipulate me or make up excuses." Ethan nodded. "Do you want backup? I can come by if you need a witness or something. I might take you up on that." The opportunity came sooner than I expected. That Friday, Vanessa texted me around noon saying she was going out with the girls after work and would be home late. "Do not wait up for me," she said with a heart emoji. The disrespect was incredible. There she was planning to spend the night with her lover and sending me little hearts as if everything was normal. I wrote to Ethan immediately. "Come over tonight. Can you keep a lookout? Do not even doubt it. I will be there." I left work at my usual time, at 5:30 in the evening. I got home, put on comfortable clothes, ordered a pizza, and waited. I left the TV on with the volume low, doing my normal Friday night routine, but I was on high alert listening for any sound at the door. Every car that passed, every footstep in the hallway, made my heart race. Around 7:45, I heard voices in the hallway. Vanessa's laugh, that high-pitched giggle she does when she has had a little to drink, and a male voice I did not recognize. My heart started beating hard. This was it, the moment of truth. The key turned in the lock. I stayed on the sofa pretending to be absorbed in whatever was on the television. The door opened and Vanessa and a tall guy, pretty boy face, with one of those shirts that try too hard to look casual but probably cost $200, entered. Designer jeans, expensive watch, whole aspiring finance aesthetic. They froze upon seeing me. Caleb, said Vanessa, turning pale. You are home? I live here, I replied coldly. I looked at the guy. And who are you? At least he had the decency to look uncomfortable. I am Derek. We were just. Save it. I interrupted him. I stood up and crossed my arms. Vanessa, do you want to explain what is going on here? She recovered faster than I expected. The surprise transformed into anger. Classic deflection. What is happening is that you are being ridiculous. Derek is just a friend from college. We ran into each other after work and I invited him to see the apartment. A friend from college. I repeated, the same friend from college you have been texting for weeks? The same one you have been seeing secretly for the last month? Derek's eyes opened wide. Vanessa, I thought you said. Shut up, Derek, she snapped at him. Then she looked back at me, raising her voice. You checked my phone. You invaded my privacy. That is abusive behavior, Caleb. The gaslighting was immediate and aggressive. It almost made me laugh how predictable it was. She was trying to turn it all around, make me look like the bad guy for catching her red-handed. Abusive behavior is having an affair behind your partner's back and bringing him into our home. I said, Derek, I think you should leave now. Yeah, okay, muttered Derek, backing toward the door. Vanessa, I will call you. He is not going to call you, I said, because you are not going to be here to answer. That was when Vanessa completely lost control. She started screaming at me, saying that I was controlling, that I had no right to tell her who she could see, that this was also her house. Classic Darvo. Deny, attack, reverse victim and offender. I had read it on Reddit. I never thought I would see it in real life, but there it was. Textbook manipulation happening in front of me. This is my condo, Vanessa. My name is on the deed. You are not on the lease. You are a guest here, and guests do not bring their lovers home. Derek finally spoke. Vanessa, what are you doing? Both of you, get away from me, she said, backing into the corner by the door. Total acting mode, tears and everything. A performance worthy of an award. Seriously, if she had put half of that effort into our relationship, maybe we would not be in this mess. I took out my phone immediately and started recording. Let the record show, I said clearly, that I have not touched her, I have not threatened her, and currently I am almost 6 feet away. She is making false accusations to the police. Turn that off, she shrieked. No, I kept recording. Sirens could already be heard in the distance. The police precinct was only a few blocks away. They would arrive in minutes. Derek now seemed panicked. Vanessa, I should go. Stay here, she ordered. You are my witness that he was threatening me. I literally just got here and saw nothing, said Derek. I am not getting involved in this. He tried to leave, but Vanessa grabbed his arm. Derek, please. At that moment, loud knocking was heard on the door. Police, open the door. I opened it immediately. 2 officers were there with their hands near their belts, alert. One was older, maybe in his 50s, with gray hair and that look of, I have seen it all, that cops have after decades on the job. The other was young, maybe in his late 20s, with the body of someone who spends all his free time in the gym. Officers, I said calmly. Thank you for coming. I am Caleb Navarro. This is my condo. She is my girlfriend Vanessa, who called you. And he is Derek, whom she brought here without my knowledge. He is lying, Vanessa interrupted. He came home and started threatening us. I am afraid of him. The older officer, whose badge said Raymond, looked at all of us. Sir, step out into the hallway, please. Of course. I obeyed immediately, still with the phone in my hand recording. Officer Raymond accompanied me to the hallway while the young officer stayed inside with Vanessa and Derek. Tell me, what happened here? I showed him the video I had just recorded. I came home and found my girlfriend with another man. She got aggressive when I asked him to leave. Then she called 911 and made false accusations. In this video, you can see that I never touched her nor threatened her. He watched the video, nodding slowly. And the other man, her lover, it is the first time I have met him in person. She has been lying about seeing him for weeks. Do you have proof of that? I opened the screenshots on my phone and showed him the messages, the credit card statements, and the timeline I had documented. I have been gathering evidence because I suspected she was cheating on me. I am the owner of this condo. She is not on the lease, and I plan to ask her to leave before all this happened. Officer Raymond examined the evidence with a neutral expression, although you could tell he was processing it all. Then he looked at me. You seem quite calm for someone whose girlfriend just called the police on him. Because I did not do anything wrong, I replied simply. I caught her cheating on me. She tried to flip the situation. Classic manipulation. I have read enough stories online to know how this ends, so I documented everything and kept calm. He nodded. Wait here. He went back inside the apartment. I could hear muffled conversations. Vanessa's voice raising in pitch again. Then the young officer came out with Derek. Sir, may I see your ID? The young officer asked Derek. Derek took out his wallet and handed over his license. The policeman stepped a few paces away and spoke into the radio. I could not hear what he was saying, but I saw how his posture changed. He looked at Derek, then at the ID, and back at Derek. Sir, I need you to put your hands behind your back. What? Why? Derek's voice became high-pitched. You have an outstanding arrest warrant. Derek tried to run. He advanced maybe 3 steps before the young officer pinned him against the wall. Officer Raymond ran out, and between the two of them, they handcuffed him in seconds. It was like watching an episode of a police reality show, only it was happening right there in my own hallway. You have the right to remain silent. Raymond began reading him his Miranda rights while the young officer held Derek against the wall. I just stood there stunned. That is not how I imagined the night would end. Vanessa ran out of the condo. What are you doing? Let him go. Ma'am, this man has an active warrant. Step back, please. Why? What warrant? She was already completely hysterical with mascara running down her face. The young officer checked something on his phone. Failure to pay child support. Multiple charges. It looks like he owes over $80,000. Vanessa's face went from horror to confusion and then to something I can only describe as the sudden realization that she had also been deceived, maybe even worse than me. That is not true. Derek, tell them it is not true. Derek said nothing. In fact, it was a smart decision on his part. They started taking him toward the stairs, and Vanessa followed him, still protesting. Ma'am, I need you to stop, said Raymond firmly. You cannot arrest him like this. This is Caleb's fault. He called you to frame us. Raymond stopped and looked at her. Really? He observed her for a second. Actually, you called us, and we performed a routine check on this gentleman when he could not give a valid explanation for why he was here. The warrant appeared in the system. Standard procedure. This is unbelievable. You are harassing him. That was when Officer Raymond's expression changed. He got serious for real. Ma'am, how long have you known this individual? We dated in college. We have been. She stopped, realizing she was about to admit to the affair officially. Have you been in contact with him recently? Have you provided him housing or financial help? Vanessa's face turned pale again. I do not have to answer that actually. If you have been deliberately hiding someone with an active arrest warrant, that is a crime. Aiding and abetting a fugitive. I saw Vanessa's world crumble in real time. It was incredible. Truly, like watching dominoes fall. I did not know anything about any warrant. She shrieked. Raymond took out a notepad. How many times has he stayed at this residence? She looked at me with panic in her eyes. I just shrugged. She had made her bed literally, maybe once or twice. Officers, I intervened. I would like to make a statement. Derek has never had authorization to be in my condo. I am the owner of this property. I am the only one listed on the contract. And if Vanessa brought him here without my knowledge or consent, she did so without my permission. Raymond nodded, noting it down. Ma'am, I am going to need you to come to the station to answer some questions. Am I arrested? Not at this moment. But we need to verify certain information about your relationship with Mr. Nolan and if you knew his legal situation. Vanessa looked at me one more time as if I were going to save her, as if I were going to intervene and tell the cops that it was all a big misunderstanding. Caleb, tell them it is a misunderstanding. Tell them. I do not think so, I replied. You called the police to make false accusations against me. You brought your lover into my house. You have been lying to me for months. Fix it yourself. The young officer took Derek down the stairs. Raymond stayed with Vanessa. Ma'am, are you going to come voluntarily, or do I need to detain you? She grabbed her purse from inside the condo, shot me a look full of pure hate, and followed him. And just like that, my apartment was empty. I stood there for a good 5 minutes trying to process what had just happened. Then I called Ethan. Dude, you are not going to believe this. The next few hours were surreal. Ethan came over with sodas and pizza. Another pizza. The one I had ordered earlier had gotten cold during all the drama. I told him everything while we ate and drank out of stress. Let me get this straight, Ethan said halfway through his third slice. Vanessa tried to get you arrested for domestic violence. but instead they arrested her lover for being a deadbeat dad who owes $80,000 in child support, and now she could face charges for helping him. Exactly, that happened. That is the best karma I have ever heard in my life. Brother, you could not write something like that even if you tried. This is movie-level justice. He was right. It was almost too perfect, as if the universe had looked at what Vanessa tried to do to me and had said, "No, watch this." Around midnight, I received a call from a number I did not recognize. I let it go to voicemail. 2 minutes later, another call from a different number. Then a message from Vanessa's friend, Brianna. "Caleb, Vanessa needs to talk to you. It is important." I blocked the number. Then I blocked 5 other numbers, while various friends of hers tried to get me to answer. It was not going to happen. Whatever she had to say, she could tell her attorney. The next morning, I woke up to 47 missed calls and about 100 messages. Vanessa had used every number she could find to try to communicate with me. I read a few just for entertainment. "Caleb, please answer. I need to explain everything to you. Everything is a misunderstanding. Derek told me he had already fixed everything. I did not know anything about the warrant. I swear. Please, do not let them charge me. I will do whatever. We can fix it. I love you." That last one made me laugh out loud. She loved me so much that she was cheating on me and trying to get me arrested. Sure, Vanessa, that is exactly what love looks like. I called building management, specifically Mr. Walter, the manager, and explained the situation. I told them I needed to change the locks immediately due to an incident with an unauthorized guest who had been arrested. They sent someone in less than 3 hours. I paid extra for the urgency, but it was worth every penny. While the locksmith worked, I packed all of Vanessa's things: clothes, toiletries, her laptop, that ridiculous amount of decorative pillows she insisted on buying, those scented candles she never lit, the collection of face masks and beauty products that took up half the bathroom, everything. It took me 6 trash bags and 3 cardboard boxes. I left it all neatly by the front door. Then I took photos of everything: the packed bags, the new locks being installed, and the empty apartment. I sent them to Ethan with timestamps. Proof for when she tried to say I destroyed her things or that I kicked her out illegally. "Done. You are very meticulous," he told me. I learned from the best internet forums. Those relationship advice threads finally served for something. Around 2 in the afternoon, there was banging on my door. Not knocks, it was loud banging. I looked through the peephole. Vanessa, looking like a wreck. No makeup, messy hair, eyes red from crying. Still in the same clothes as the night before. She looked like she had been through a lot, which, being fair, was probably true. "Caleb, I know you are there. We have to talk." I did not answer. I stood staring through the peephole, heart racing, but firm in my decision. "Please, I am sorry. I made a mistake." More banging. Some neighbors opened their doors to see what was happening. Mrs. Rodriguez from 3B shot Vanessa a look of disapproval and went back inside. Mr. Patterson from across the hall shook his head and closed his door. The whole building was witnessing the show. "Caleb, they're going to charge me. They said I was harboring a fugitive. I need your help, please." I still did not answer. After about 10 minutes of this, building security appeared. Mr. Walter, the manager, who had always been cool with me. "Ma'am, I need you to stop causing a disturbance. I live here. This is my apartment." "Actually," I said, opening the door. "She does not. She was staying here temporarily as my guest. But she is no longer welcome. Her belongings are here." I pointed to the bags and boxes stacked neatly by the door. Vanessa tried to push me to enter the apartment. "You cannot do this. I have rights." Mr. Walter stepped between us. "Ma'am, if your name is not on the lease, you do not have tenant rights in this building. I need you to pick up your belongings and leave, or I will have to call the police." "Call them." "I do not care, Caleb. Please, just talk to me for 5 minutes." I looked at Mr. Walter. "Call them. I want it on official record that she is trespassing." He already had the radio in his hand. In less than 10 minutes, 2 different officers appeared. They were not Raymond, but clearly, they already knew what happened the night before. News travels fast in police departments. "Ma'am, are these your belongings?" asked one of them, pointing at the bags and boxes. "Yes." "Then you have to take them and leave the premises. The owner has asked you to leave, and now you are trespassing." Vanessa started crying again. That ugly cry where your whole face scrunches up. "I have nowhere to go, Caleb. Please, can we fix this? I am sorry. It was a mistake." "No," I said simply, keeping my voice flat and emotionless. We cannot. You betrayed my trust. You lied to me for months. You tried to get me arrested with false accusations and brought a wanted fugitive into my house. It is over, Vanessa. Take your things and go. But I love you. You love my condo and the fact that you lived here for free while spending our money on your boyfriend. There is a difference. The officers helped her carry her things down to her car. She looked back again and again, as if waiting for me to change my mind and run out after her. I just stood there with my arms crossed, waiting for her to leave completely. On every trip down the stairs she stopped, looked back, and hoped I would cave, but I was done, completely done. After she finally left, one of the officers came back up. Just so you know, she is probably going to face charges for the false police report. The district attorney takes that very seriously. The charge for aiding and abetting depends on how much contact she had with Mr. Nolan while he was wanted, but from what I understand, it seems she knew about his situation. How did they find out? Phone records. She was sending him money by Venmo and Cash App, amounts that match almost exactly his child support payments. Prosecutors believe she was helping him evade his obligations. It is a pretty clear case. I did not even know that part. The betrayal kept getting deeper. All that is going to come out in the trial. In the trial. Yes. If they need you to testify about how many times he was here or something like that, they might subpoena you. I will gladly help in whatever is needed. The officer nodded. Between you and me, you dodged a bullet with this woman. A big one. Yes, I am starting to realize that. The following days were quiet. I changed my number, not only to avoid Vanessa, but because I was also receiving calls from the lawyer of the mother of Derek's children, wanting to know about the relationship between Vanessa and Derek and if I had information about the money transfers. I referred them to the police report and left it at that. Not my circus, not my monkeys anymore. Ethan came over almost every night. We played video games, watched movies, ordered takeout, normal stuff. He did not try to force me to talk about the subject if I did not want to, which I appreciated. Just having him there helped. Having someone on my side who did not judge me nor tell me I should give Vanessa another chance. Are you really okay? He asked me one night during a loading screen. Like really, honestly? Yes. I am upset about the lies, but I am not crushed. In fact, I am relieved. Can you imagine if I had proposed? If we had gotten married and then I found out, it would have been much more expensive to get rid of her and way more complicated legally. Exactly. I dodged a bullet, a big one. About 2 weeks after everything happened, I received a call from Officer Raymond. Mr. Navarro, I wanted to update you on the case. Vanessa Molina is being formally charged with filing a false police report and aiding and abetting a fugitive. Derek Nolan is being held for the child support warrant. Also, they added some identity fraud charges. Identity fraud. It turns out he has been using his brother's identity to work. Social security number and everything. A complete mess. His brother had no idea. Anyway, Ms. Molina's bail was set at $15,000. Apparently, her family cannot pay it. So she has been calling the station asking if we could ask you to pay the bail. I laughed. She called the police department to have them ask me to bail her out after trying to get me arrested. Her lawyer has been quite insistent. I told them I would pass the message, but that I could not guarantee you would even accept my call. Tell them thanks, but no thanks. She falsely accused me to the police. Let her stay in jail and think about her decisions. I imagined you would say that. Just wanted to let you know in case her friends contact you directly. And they did. During the next week, I received messages from people I barely knew. People I had never even seen in my life, all begging me to help Vanessa, saying she had made a mistake, that jail was too much punishment, that I should be the mature person and show compassion. Some got quite aggressive, calling me insensitive and vindictive. I ignored them all. Block, block, block. Every new number was blocked immediately. I was not going to let Vanessa's flying monkeys manipulate me into saving her from the consequences she completely deserved. The best message came from the mother of Derek's children. Somehow she got my new number, probably through the prosecutor's office, and wrote to me, "I do not know you, but thank you for helping catch that deadbeat dad. My children and I have been struggling for 3 years because of him. Your evidence and your testimony helped add more charges. I hope you are okay after everything." That did make me feel good. Like, yeah, my relationship blew up and my girlfriend turned out to be toxic, but at least something good came out of all this. Some kids were going to receive the support they deserved because Vanessa was dumb enough to bring a wanted man into my house, and I was smart enough to document everything. Happy to help. I hope you and your kids receive everything you are owed. He deserves everything coming to him. The legal process took a while to resolve. Yes, I ended up being summoned to testify about how many times Derek was in my house and what I knew of Vanessa's contact with him. I told the truth. I had never met him before that night. I never authorized him to be in my house. I had no idea Vanessa was in contact with him, much less that she was helping him evade his legal obligations. Vanessa's defense attorney tried to paint me as a controlling and vindictive ex-boyfriend who was blowing everything out of proportion to get revenge. Tried to turn me into the real villain of the story. The prosecutor shut that down pretty fast, showing the video I had recorded, the recordings from the police body cameras from that night, and the detailed records of all the money Vanessa had been sending to Derek through different apps. It turned out she had sent him almost $30,000 in 6 months. Money from her salary, money from our shared credit card, on which I had already filed fraud claims, and even money she had borrowed from her parents with the excuse of urgent expenses related to her job as a dental hygienist. She told her parents she needed money for professional development courses, for urgent car repairs, for all kinds of made-up expenses. It all went directly to Derek. Her parents were in the courtroom when all that came to light. They looked absolutely devastated. After my testimony, her mother tried to approach me in the hallway outside the courtroom. "Caleb, please. You know Vanessa. You know her heart. She is not a bad person. She just made some mistakes. Can you not find it in your heart to help her? Ma'am, with all due respect, your daughter tried to get me arrested on false charges because I caught her betraying my trust. She stole thousands of dollars from me, lied to you, and helped a man evade support for his own children. Those are not mistakes. They are deliberate decisions with real victims. I am sorry, but I cannot help her." Her father pulled her away before she could respond, but I saw the expression on his face, that of a father realizing his daughter was not who he thought. He knew. Maybe he did not want to accept it, but he knew. Vanessa ended up pleading guilty to the false report charge in exchange for a lighter sentencing recommendation. They gave her a year of probation, a fine of $2,000, and 200 hours of community service. The aiding and abetting charge, however, was more serious. Her lawyer negotiated a plea deal of 18 months in jail, with the possibility of parole after 9 months if she showed good behavior and paid restitution to Derek's children through the state. Derek received 5 years in prison for evading child support payments, identity fraud, and a bunch of other charges that came out during the investigation. Turned out he had been running this scam in several states, using the identities of different relatives to avoid wage garnishments and legal consequences. A true disaster of a person, the kind of man who gives decent men a bad name. I attended Vanessa's sentencing hearing. I did not sit at the front or anything like that, just in the back row watching in silence. She saw me when they brought her in from custody. She froze, eyes wide, and then looked down at the table in front of her and did not look up again. When the judge asked if she had anything to say before sentencing, she gave a rehearsed speech about how Derek had manipulated her, how she did not fully understand what she was doing, how she wanted to take responsibility, but also asked for mercy because she had never had trouble with the law before. The judge did not buy it. "Ms. Molina, you are a 27-year-old woman with a college education and a professional career. You made a series of deliberate decisions over a prolonged period of time, engaging in an affair, filing a false police report against your partner, and sending thousands of dollars to someone you knew was evading his legal obligations to his children. These were not impulsive actions of someone manipulated. They were calculated decisions of someone who believed the rules did not apply to her." Boom. That was exactly what I had come to hear. The validation that I was not crazy, that I was not exaggerating, that what she did was genuinely wrong. After the sentencing, I left the courthouse feeling lighter than I had felt in months. I went back to work, to my normal life. I started going to the gym more regularly. I picked up some hobbies I had put aside during the relationship. Ethan and I started a weekly poker night with other coworkers. Life was good, better than good. Actually, I started going out again after a few months. Nothing serious yet, but I am in no rush. I take my time. I pay more attention to red flags. I trust my gut more. I met a nice woman named Lauren in a coffee shop. We have been on a few dates. She seems sincere. Time will tell. Comment. It is easy to get caught up in the drama of this story, but the real power lies in how you can handle betrayal with dignity. Trusting your gut is not just about catching someone lying. It is about honoring your own reality and protecting your safety. When you set firm boundaries, you are not being controlling or mean. You are simply protecting your peace. True justice often comes naturally when you step back and let people face the consequences of their own choices. You do not need to seek revenge or get your hands dirty to prove anything. Healing begins the moment you decide that you deserve better than lies and manipulation. It takes immense courage to stand alone rather than stay in a situation that drains your spirit. Remember that your value is defined by your integrity and how you treat others, not by how someone treats you. I hope this reminds you that walking away from toxic people or situations is often the first step toward a happier life. Stay strong, trust yourself, and always choose the path that brings you genuine peace. If you like the stories, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.